What advice would you give your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know now about business and life? What would you tell your 20-year-old self to do or watch out for or whatnot?
Oh man, where did you say that? Okay, so again, I can hardly make long versions short. Okay, I'm gonna try again. What would I give my 20-year-old self advice? So I have three sons. Okay, my youngest is 20 years old. Out of my three boys, he is the only one that is he is a second version of me. Okay, uh, completely 100%. He's into everything that I was ever into and still am into. Okay, from the age of 5, 6 years old, like I said, to from remote control cars. I got involved with dirt bikes, ATV quads at the age of 13. And I think I had my first vehicle at 15 or 16. When here in New Jersey, we get licensed at 17. I had about 4 vehicles before I got my license. So my son is the same way. My 20-year-old, he had his first motorcycle at the age of 4, his first vehicle at the age of 16. He likes the same things that I like, and he is now here currently running the business with me as well. So it's funny that you say that. What would I give my 20-year-old version of me? What advice? Is the same exact advice that I'm actually giving him to this day, every day. And it's turning out great. He's great in the business. He's learning more and more now in the junk car end of the business. As far as with auto repair, the auto repair shop, he runs that with me as well, and he's been involved with that since he's came out of IT tech school. For about the last year, he's been running the auto repair business. But again, like I said, with the junk car end of it, we've only been doing that for the last few months, getting back into that. So he's learning that as well. The advice that I would give would be, for one, definitely take your time. Take your time. Take a lot in. Knowledge is key. You always want to, knowledge to me is more valuable than money, than cash. I was fortunate to get a lot of knowledge growing up in this business with a few business owners that I worked for that showed me. I recall at the age of 18, I believe, I worked for one guy who kind of had the same establishment that I'm running now. This guy did a little bit of towing. He had a body shop. He had a dealer's license. He did some auto repair. And it was a very, very small operation. It was the owner who he was not hands-on at all. He was there every day, all day, but he didn't do any work. He wound up buying the business from the guy that he brought the business from was an old guy named George. George did the body work. George did some of the auto repairs. When they brought me in, they hired me as a helper. I would help George in the body shop with the auto repairs. I would do the detailing for the cars, the body shop cars that were finished and went out to customers. I would also do the detailing for the cars that the owner brought from the auction and put on his used car lot. Then it got to the point where he showed me how to operate the tow truck. That was the first time I did, operate a flatbed. He taught me that. He also taught me some of the sales ends and the business with his used car lot end of it. I had already known auto body because I took auto body in school, in vocational school. So that's how I was able to help out, the older guy George in the body shop end of it. I was being in the detailing field, so I fit in perfectly there. Now I remember the owner. His name was Doug. At that time, Doug used to told me a couple of times. He says, Ronnie, you're a great kid. I like your work. He says, I wish I could pay you more, but I can't afford to pay you more, but I could do something a little bit better for you. He says, to compensate where, where you're worth more money. I can't pay you more money. He says, I'll let you utilize the shop, utilize the tow truck. He says, why don't you, whenever you decide, you don't have to, this is completely up to you. He says, take one of your paychecks or take 2 paychecks. He says, you can go to the auction with me, which you already do, but he says, you can go to the auction with me. And if you see a car you want to buy, you can buy it. He used to buy, he used to do rebuildables. So he would buy light wrecks, being that he had a body shop, bring them back, tow them back, fix them, put them on the lot for sale. He would also buy, regular cars that weren't wrecked. I would do the detailing. He put them on the lot and sell them. He says, you could buy a wreck, you could buy a car that, just a trade-in, if it needs a paint job, we got the body shop. I have the spray booth. He says, you can use anything in the shop after hours on your own time. He says, after 5, you use the shop. On the weekends, at that point, I had a key to the shop. He says, if you see something on the side of the road, you want to buy a car yourself, come get the tow truck, tow it in. You can use the shop, you can use the truck, you can fix that car, you can take it home and sell it yourself, or you can sell it on my car lot. So he gave me permission to use the business on my time, buy something off his dealer license, sell it off his dealer license, utilize the shop, use the tow truck. And he recommended that I do it. He says, because you see what I'm doing. There was times that half the week I would go to the auction with him. Two times maybe. He would go about 4 or 5. I would go to the auction with him. I would help transport the cars back. When he taught me how to use the tow truck, I would do towing. I did a little bit of everything there. So he says, you see what I paid for this car. You see what it's on the lot for. And I got a deposit on it. It's going to sell. I oversaw the whole operations of the business. So, by him giving me that opportunity, which no one else at any job where I worked gave me that much opportunity and the ability to do that. And I took that advice and I started doing it. And that's what actually started all of this off. And again, at that time, I was either 17 or 18 years old. Well, I opened up my own detail shop maybe 2 years later. And then years down the line, I wind up, just growing and I find myself now another George, doing the same exactly. Only he didn't do junk cars back then, but we going through school, auto body. I do body work myself. I kind of see him in myself, and that was I just sat back, took the knowledge in, listened to what he said, and that was kind of like hands-on coaching at that situation. So it's a good true story, and I never forget that experience. So I can't say I would be here still today if it wasn't for him. Maybe so, but I learned a lot then. And like I said, working for someone, you don't always get that opportunity.
Yep.
Working for someone, you're there to do your job, and that's it. You get paid for doing your job. So it's a difference when someone gives you the opportunity to make more out of yourself and shows you and guides you. You get that, and kids get that. If they work for somewhere, they work with their parents in their parents' business. They're gonna teach their kid, but they're not going to teach the average employee most of the time.
Right.
And some employees are a little smart, so they just watch and observe and listen and learn anyway. And a year later, you find out Joe's down the street. He's opened up his own mechanic shop. That does happen.
No,
but
sure.
At such a young age, I learned a lot. Towing, how to do car sales, the paperwork. I learned all that at a young age. Because I was given the opportunity to.
That's awesome. It's awesome to see how people can shape other people's lives with a little bit of guidance. It's nice to see.